I want you to think back to the first time you ever remember being truly afraid. What was it? Does it stick with you today? This is the sort of thing that we talk about on the House of Asher. Won't you join us? Hey everybody, it's Steve Asher. You are listening to House of Asher, and this is episode 30. It's kind of trippy. It's been sort of a weird day, strange day. Started work, doing my thing, going out. Some of you guys know I work with special needs adults, and it was a pretty good day. And so I'm going to put on my pretty good day background music. Here we go. Here, just a little something. Just a little something. There we go. Let's groove. Okay, so anyway, you're listening to episode 30 of House of Asher. And so anyway, I started my day. Everything was pretty groovy. And pull it back just a hair. There you go. So anyway, was going about my day, and a thought come to me. And I said, man, I wonder if it takes being someone who is paranormally guided, having a gift or whatever, if that's something that is a necessary thing for to be successful in anything paranormal, meaning anything from being a paranormal investigator or ghost hunter or spook stalker or whatever you want to call it, man. It's basically the same thing. It's just sort of your overall aim is, I guess, the end game of it. But what I was wondering was like, will that make you maybe a better hunter? Or would that maybe muddle the waters for you? Would it maybe make it one of those deals where you're seeing so much crap and you get so much going on and so much background interference in your head, it might affect the way you see readings. It may make you doubt something, or maybe it would make you more liable to believe something that might be more explained with something along a more normal, natural action in regards of, it being nature-based or just a naturally occurring thing, due to the fact that you're having some sort of weird experience going on along with it. And I don't know. I know for me, I had some experiences as a kid, and I've always kind of been somewhat, I guess, intuitive. I think we all are. I'm not saying it like I'm some sort of great, overmind and connected and some sort of deep level and all this stuff. I do think the time of working not only in the prison system and getting my intuition and trusting my gut and learning to hear that inner little voice of going, nah, this isn't a good spot to be in, or maybe a thing of, well, maybe we could look at something differently. Maybe we can play this differently, just because it doesn't feel right. Kind of took hold. Well, I can't necessarily say that would necessarily make or break me on being in the paranormal, but I think that, coupled with my training, coupled with my natural instincts, as whatever high or low they may be, some days are higher, some days are lower. I'll catch myself, say if I'm under the weather a little bit, not particularly well, which, depending on who you talk to, I've always believed this. If you're not feeling well, if you're in any way impaired, don't try to go investigate a place. Don't try to get into an area that might compromise you. I've heard that from anybody from ghost hunters to people who do deal with negative energies, exorcists, and all that stuff. Make sure you're together, or don't go. You better bring your A game, because you never know what you're going to deal with. And I'm not trying to say that in some sort of melodramatic, selling it deal. It's just you're not going to be a service to whoever you're trying to help. Say if it's at a residential area, and you're just not going to be as a good investigator. You're just not going to be as a good aid or helper or whatever, holy man, shaman, whatever you happen to be, or whatever your classifications are. But I do think that there's something to be said for having your mind together, your spirit together, and being focused and having that still voice in inside you that kind of guides you. And I know it sounds a little new agey or maybe a little schizophrenic. I'm not saying like a voice is like, hey, let's go burn the village, but I mean the little voice that's like, okay, let's look at this, let's study this, okay, this doesn't feel right, or this feels right, this seems like the response that we're getting, there seems to be a pattern here. I go on that a lot, but anyway, I have to sit and think about that. I mean, does a person's natural gifts help, hinder, or don't make any difference in it? Man, I don't know. I think it would come down to an individual's ability to turn, like if you have a gift, to turn those off and on. They have the ability to step back and look at it, because sometimes if you're dealing with anything, if your emotions are involved and you're not able to pull back and sort of study it with a bit of a skeptical eye and a bit of a another way of putting it, just a personal disconnect, I think you're going to go toward what you think it is. If you don't think it's haunted, it doesn't generally much matter what you encounter. You're going to find some reason that's not. Or if it is, or it isn't, rather, or whatever, you're going to find a reason that it is, or a reason that it isn't. Anyway, but I think that comes down to that. If you're not in control of a gift, it can be as much of a hindrance as it is a help. Just for the fact that you're going to maybe be getting stuff that other people's like, yeah, I'm not reading anything, but you're like, no, I'm feeling something. It's right there. And that's not always good. I've been in situations where, for whatever reason, maybe we didn't get readings, but I still felt a presence that didn't necessarily mean it was strong enough to register. Or it could have been me. I'm open enough to go, not everything I think that I feel necessarily is what I'm feeling. Just for the fact of, if you're not showing scientific data or showing some sort of action response to something, it's a feeling. It's a I believe. It comes down to faith then, which that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother arena of that. Because I could never be a psychic. I could never be one of those guys to believe in my abilities enough to go, yes, I think your son's alive down in that cave, or no, I'm sorry, I think your daughter died, whatever, on that train track. That's a really weird situation to be in to begin with. It's sort of like being a doctor and saying, I don't think your son's going to make it, but that's kind of from an educated guess. And I know there's people there that have gifts, I'm not saying that, but I know for myself, I don't trust my abilities enough. Do I think I have a certain amount of empathic ability in reading? Probably as much as the next person, maybe a hair stronger, just due to the fact that I've been doing this crap for so long. But I would be hard pressed to call myself gifted. But other than maybe just due to skills that I've honed over X amount of years, and that could be true for anyone who's an artist, or anyone who's a orientator, or anyone who is a bricklayer. Your skills next to a novice is gonna be somewhat noticeable, especially to someone who is in that field. I'm starting to get to the point where people were starting to respond positively to me, and not that they were ever really negative, but you start to kind of get to a point where people kind of go, okay, well, he seems all right. He seems like he's trying to go with the scientific method, and he seems like he's trying to do this above board, no smoke and mirrors, all that kind of crap, and which is good. But anyway, I am curious what you guys think. I wonder, have you guys been in situations either with people that were extremely gifted and it helped you, or maybe you've been in situations where it was just, they're seeing a spook or a demon or something around every corner. I've had that too. And I'm not saying that they maybe aren't dealing with something. I'm just not feeling it. My meters and whatnot are not getting it. My rods are not showing a response. So, I would be curious to see what you guys think. And not just people that are ghost hunters or whatever. I don't want to talk about just honest to God walking down the street, everyday folk. because in the end, that's all we all are. There are no experts in this. I mean, I'm not saying that there aren't people that study demonology for years, and there's not people that have not studied schools of esoteric thought in priests and various holy men and holy women of various sects and denominations. I give them credence, even if I don't necessarily believe in a lot of that. I give them credence for they put the time in. They deserve that PhD or doctor in front of their name. I always try to give respect, just like any officer or military person. They put their time in, and I always try to give those people respect because, well, it was the way I was raised, and that's just the nature of the beast. But I do want to hear back from you guys. I want to hear what you think. I want to know where you are on this. If you think it's something that might actually have some variance on it. But as you hear that really groovy music come in, it's time for me to start easing back because it's been a long, weird day. I'm enjoying my little building. I've got my AC kicking. It's super groovy. There's a little bit of a sound, but you know what? Just roll with it, kids. Just go with the experience. Take it where it leads you. All waters generally lead to something positive, and so just be open for the ride. But as the sun begins to sink in the sky and the shadows grow long, make sure to check outside, check around your back porch, check under your bed, in your closet. You never know. Maybe that intuition that's telling you to look there's a reason. Maybe there's something waiting to speak with you. So until next time, I want you to love one another, love yourselves, and above all, I want you to stay scared. See you later, everybody.